What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Coutlon Woods, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Learning from the Experts. And on this episode, I actually want to go over a few of the things that I learned from the best voice coach in the world, like in the entire world, the number one voice coach. I got to spend last weekend with him and his team. Me and Steven got to fly out there and help them with our program that's called Offer Lab. And I just want to go over some of the crazy things that I learned from as I was there. There's definitely a reason why he's the number one voice coach in the world. So here's the deal. I know how frustrating it is as an entrepreneur to waste countless hours sifting through wannabe experts who never actually helped me in the end. Then to learn years later that there was an expert who really could help me 100 times faster than learning it on my own. I have created this podcast to save you time and money while taking you on a journey with me as I learn from and interview real experts who can actually help you grow your business. My name is Coutlon Woods, and you're listening to Learning from the Experts. All right. So last weekend, I guess not even last weekend, it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I had the most awesome opportunity to fly to Hollywood with Steve Larson, who's the man. If you don't follow his podcast, you need to be listening to that one as well. But I got to fly out there with him, which was a super awesome opportunity, and meet with the number one voice coach in the entire world. And I got to see him give Steve Larson voice lessons right there, which is pretty awesome to see, actually, and how much he was actually able to help him in just like 10 minutes. But before I get to any of that, let me just go over a couple of things, a few people that he has coached. Now, when I heard this, it blew my mind, and I'm pretty sure it's going to blow yours too. So here are some people that he has coached himself, literally himself. I mean, he's been doing this for a very long time. He originally, started way back in the day he was working with a coach. I'm not going to tell his whole story here, but he was working with a coach. The coach ended up having to leave for weeks, and he took over coaching his students, which was like the Jacksons and like Madonna and lots of other people like that, and was coaching them as a 16-year-old. He was super young, and these people actually were learning from him at 16. He was able to help them. He has this crazy ability to listen to your voice and know what you can do to improve it. Crazy stuff. It was pretty awesome to see. So not only Madonna, the Jacksons, he works with crazy professional actors. He just helped Bradley Cooper in The Star. He was helping him with his singing for that movie. But he's worked with Tony Robbins, Brendan Bouchard, Jay Abraham, Jeff Bridges, Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell. I mean, it just goes on. And then singers like Selena Gomez, John Mayer, Maroon 5, Gwen Stefani, and a ton of others. Matchbox 20, which I was that's pretty cool. I like them. The Beach Boys, Def Leppard, the Killers, and the Jacksons. So he's definitely worked with some high-end people. He lives right in Hollywood. They come to him. He teaches them how to speak better, how to sing better, and how to just be an overall better voice in everything they do. So now I'm super conscious of my voice ever since then, and I'm trying to not be so monotone, which I definitely need some lessons on that. So I'm excited about his course that is coming out. Hopefully you guys will be able to check that out. But if you want to go see some stuff that he's got, just go to rogerlove.com. And that's ROGERLOVE.com. And you can kind of see a little bit of that stuff there. But this is what blew my mind. When I heard this, I couldn't believe it. He said, okay, it's actually on his rogerlove.com website. If you hit speaking at the top and then just the speaking home part, a little bit down there, I think it's kind of towards the bottom, it talks about communication. And he says, by communication, we're not just talking about the words we use. According to a scientific study at Stanford, your words only account for about 7% of whether or not anyone believes you. I was like, seriously, 7%? He's like, yeah, it's whether or not anyone believes you, likes you, or thinks you're smart, funny, strong, or successful. Any of that. 7% of it is only based on the words you actually say. I don't know about you, but that was really shocking to me to see that it was that low. He says, by contrast, tonality, the sounds your voice makes, aside from the words, counts for more than 38%. When you understand how your physiology and tonality can unite, almost 93% of the incredible powers of communication and influence will be in your hand. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty crazy. 93%. That goes with, if you want to be a speaker, presenter, a communicator, and an influencer, honestly, when we were talking, he's like, yeah, people in their jobs, if they learn how to speak better and communicate better, literally, I've seen so many people get raises and like become better and, just like climb the ladder so much faster or grow their audience so much quicker. Like all these different things just by changing their voice and adding some tonality to their voice, which to me blew my mind. And then he's like, a lot of people think that they are born with that voice. They just think they're born with it. That's it. 100%. That's the way they're going to be the rest of their life. And then I saw him give Steve voice lessons right there and how quickly he helped Steve just change a few things. It was pretty amazing. And then I was like, he went over all these breathing techniques, crazy stuff. And I'm like, holy cow, we are really, we were doing pretty bad at speaking. So if that doesn't blow your mind on who he's worked with and the fact that 7% of what you say is all that matters if someone wants to believe you, that's huge. That's huge to me. If you're any kind of entrepreneur, if you're any kind of coach, voice, or influencer, any of that stuff, your voice is very important. Your voice is super important. And if you don't have a voice that is not monotone, has some tonality, and you can actually keep people engaged, you're going to be able to go so much farther. That's with anything. If you do Facebook Lives, if you're podcasting, any of that stuff. If you're doing videos on YouTube, your tonality, everything matters so much. And so I'm excited that I saw that, and I'm excited to see what I can do to learn from him to help myself and my own voice. It was pretty interesting. You can definitely be so much more confident with just a different tone in your voice, or just a different tonality, just a different way of breathing. Even I saw it. It was crazy. So it was awesome. We got to go there on Thursday. He gave Steve some voice coaches. I got to meet with him, talk with him a little bit. We had a dinner afterwards. It was pretty cool to go in Hollywood and have dinner there. And then Friday we met with him and his team, went over his funnel, like stuff that they're going to put together. Super awesome stuff. I'm excited to see what they're going to come up with and have out there soon. But yeah, that was part of the Offer Lab program that Steve just announced at OfferMind. I'm excited to see how where that's going to go too. It's about to launch. I think if you go to offerlab.com, hopefully here real soon, you'll be able to actually apply and be able to learn a little bit more about it. But I want to go into this a little bit more. So I went over some of those stats. That made me think of a time when I was younger. And I remember this. I was like sitting in the front room. I had family and friends around me. And I remember my uncle started to tell us a story. And as he's telling this story, he's like really animated, getting loud, and just like really into the story. And I remember thinking, holy cow, this is an awesome story. Like that was entertaining. Like, I want to hear some more stories from him because that was really entertaining. And so I thought, you know what? That was a really cool story. I want to tell that to somebody else. Well, not necessarily that I thought that, but there was a time that came and I was like, oh, I got to tell this guy this story that my uncle told me because it was awesome and it totally relates to this. So I tell this story. I don't remember if it was just one person or a few. I can't quite remember, but I remember telling the story and it was like crickets. Nothing afterwards. Like, they were like, wow, that's cool, I guess, maybe. And I'm like, what the heck? How is that? How is it that when my uncle told us the story, it was awesome. It was intriguing. I was very into it the entire time. I wanted to hear more. But then when I tell it, there's like silence. What's the difference? And I remember thinking that growing up, or when I was growing up. And now I'm looking back at it and looking at these stats that Roger Love just gave. Only 7% of what you say is actually gonna actually matter to whether or not they are engaged in your story, if they think you're funny or not. So honestly, like, the story could be completely not even that cool or that good of like a structure or words, but your tonality and your physiology can make up for 93% of it, making it an amazing story, when in reality you could just be telling the most boring thing ever to some people, you know, or other people will say it and not have the tonality or the physiology, and it'll be a completely boring story. So interesting thought. If you want people to listen to you, if you want people to be more engaged in what you're saying, if you want to be better in your meetings, your tonality and your physiology actually has a lot to do with whether or not people are going to pay attention to you there. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to learn some more and get better at it. And my breathing, oh man, there's so many things got to work on now, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be pretty cool. So it also makes me think of like those stories when you hear it from somebody else and then you tell it, or, you know, a joke or whatever it may be, and then you tell it to somebody else and you're kind of just like, oh yeah, you had to be there. You know, you just had to be there to really experience it. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense because that was not funny. Same thing. A lot of, well, any actor you know of that's actually huge, guaranteed has had a voice coach to help them not be boring when they talk. And 90% of them that had a voice coach probably had Roger Love. So pretty cool stuff. I actually have been listening to a book lately called Pitch Anything, and that has some other stuff to do with this that I think really ties in very well to the tonality and the physiology part of it that can help you pitch anything, literally. And, you know, I think I might actually save that for the next episode or another episode later. I'm still in the middle of the book. I got to finish it, but I'd love to go over that a little bit more and how you can get past pitching the croc brain. If you haven't heard of the croc brain before and how to pitch through the croc brain, it's pretty intriguing, actually. So hopefully I can go over that a little bit more and help you guys with that one so you are better in your meetings and everything else in life and pitching people around you, even your spouse. Think about that. So I'm going to go ahead and end there today. Thank you guys for being on here, and we'll see you on the next episode. Are you looking to jumpstart your business by learning or getting help from the real experts? Go to learningfromtheexperts.com to find pre-approved experts that I've handpicked for you. Please don't forget to let me know how I'm doing by subscribing, rating, and leaving feedback.